Well, anyway, Jimmy, welcome. And as you call it, the Merv Griffin Show, but a Tongan representative, and correct me if I'm wrong on some of these stats, because I know you played, how many games did you play for the London Broncos?
I don't know, mate. It was over 100.
Over 100. But
yeah.
it looks like 320 games in total, NRL, London Broncos. But a Tongan international, Australian international, a New South Wales State of Origin rep, 5'8" and lock. He played club football for Sydney, Western Suburbs, Canterbury, Bankstown, Parramatta. He's finishing your career at Super League, London Broncos. You then embarked on a coaching career, becoming head coach. Were you head coach at Tonga?
Yes.
International,
yes,
yeah. So head coach at Tonga International. You spent the latter part of your NRL as a head coach of the Canterbury Bulldogs, then becoming an assistant.
I was caretaker.
You were caretaker,
yeah.
but you were at the Sydney Roosters before that, the Cronulla Sharks. You went back to the Cronulla Sharks twice, right?
Yeah.
Twice, the Titans, and now at the Manly Seagulls.
Yes, correct.
Massive career. I know you don't do many of these at all. You're very hard to get a hold of, but I just want to thank you for coming on short notice.
Oh, thanks for having me, Mets. But actually, I was at the Rabbits. I first started at the Rabbits.
What is it? As an assistant coach?
No, as a player.
As a player,
Yeah,
okay, cool.
I did played President's Cup there and reserve grade.
Why does South let so many great players
I always wanted to play first grade there, but I left there when I was 18. So I did play a first grade game, but it was only a trial.
Yeah.
So,
did you have an opportunity?
But I followed South since I was a kid.
Still?
So, yeah. So I wanted to play first grade there. I was so desperate to play, and I never got that opportunity. Yeah. So that's probably one regret.
But you never got an opportunity to go back.
Oh, at the stage of my time, no, I didn't. No.
Yeah. So let's go back. Obviously, the pinnacle of your career, and correct me if I'm wrong, was the grand final win in 1995 and the Clive Churchill medal, right? A lot of players don't actually get to win the big trophy at the end of the season. You done it early. What was that like?
I think a lot of players don't get to play in a grand final, so I was fortunate enough to play in one in '94, and it's funny because in '94 we were like the side to beat. Yeah, we're the side to beat, and '93 I arrived at Canterbury, and we were minor premiers. Minor premiers and club. That year, but we got bumped straight out of the semis. We didn't win the game, and then so the next year we're favourites to win the grand final, and it wasn't to be. It's Mal Meninga's swan song, and we ended up getting pumped in '94. So '95 was a funny one because with the Super League debacle and all that, and Manly was by far the best side the whole year, and we scraped into the semis and ended up winning the GF, and we weren't the best side all year, but we were the best side on the day. So yeah, it works in mysterious ways, and yeah, it was funny because I did get that opportunity to win the grand final at a young age, and I didn't realise how special it was because you don't make them too many grand finals. And when I went to Parramatta, I think 4 times we were one game short. So, yeah, I take that for granted sometimes.
When you were at the Bulldogs, obviously you played with some great players, Terry Lamb being one of them. What was he someone you looked up to before you got there? Like, was he everything that you thought he was and that he lived up to when you got to the Bulldogs? It's
funny because, like, they're great players, watching them on TV and that, but when you get to spend every day with them and see what they do, and why they are great players, that they put in so much, they do extras, they just go above and beyond. And he was a great leader, and for me, Terry's like probably the best player I've ever played with, week in, week out, like club player, unbelievable. He's just a great leader as well. Like, he didn't say too much at times. He was more of an action man. If we're struggling, trying to get out of trouble, him being the 5'8", he'd come in and start doing hit-ups. And so then the forwards, you look at each other and say, "Mate, what are we doing, mate? Like, this bloke, he can't be in there doing that." So he doesn't put you on show, but he just said, if he's doing it, he leads by example all the time. So, I was, pretty privileged to play with Terry, and he's a good friend of mine.
Obviously, before that, you were at the Western Suburbs Magpies. I think we spoke about it, before. Obviously, you got your opportunity there. But I think there was a story about you, how you were living. I think you were living in Woolloomooloo at the time, right?
Yeah.
How did you get there? I remember you were telling me they used to catch public transport to get to Campbelltown.
I was working at because it was semi-professional back in them days, and I was an apprentice printer at Boswell Printing, and I was working at Alexandria. And the bloke who used to come and do the lunches was Joe Thomas. He used to play for Souths and also Canterbury, and he won a grand final in '88 with Warren Ryan and that. And in 91, Warren Ryan and a few of the other Canterbury players were headed out to Campbelltown. It was Joe Thomas, Paul Langmack, Andrew Farrer. Who else was there?
Peter Tunks there?
No, Jim Sedaris, he was out there. Terry Hill was coming out there. So Joe was always into me at lunchtimes to go, "Mate, if you want to learn something, come out to Campbelltown, and you'll learn something from a great coach like Warren Ryan." And I was at South at the time, and I had an option in my favour to stay, but I thought it was going to be more beneficial for my career to get to learn from from Warren Ryan and also all them other players there like Paul Langmack and Joey Thomas and Andrew Farrer. So I headed out there, and my car had a Mazda 626, and sometimes on the way home, it was in traffic, the car would overheat, so I'd have to pull over and end up spending an hour on the side of the road just eating my dinner. And so then I had to I'd catch the train, sometimes it was quicker. So I'd catch the train to Lamere, and then have to catch it back from Lamere to King's Cross. So it was all part and parcel of the grind for me. And, I think that's the difference between the generations now, the eras that we played, that, we were semi-professional and we all had jobs. So it was a privilege just to be able to play rugby league and getting paid for it.
Did players back in that era appreciate the game more, you think? They went out of their way to, it was more uncomfortable. The more uncomfortable was, they made it there. They didn't miss a session. They had, they brought less of their problems with them. Was it like that more in that era, you think, than it is now?
I think because everyone was working back then, I think everyone had more life experiences. Nowadays, you come straight out of school and you don't get that opportunity. You don't have to work. That is your job, rugby league. So, we're pretty fortunate and not fortunate, but I thought that's how we got that mindset. That grind. Getting life experience. Travelling and all. Everyone, it happens to everyone. Even the reserve graders now, that they still going through it. If you're not in the top 30, they're still working part time. So it's hard for them as well. Working and trying to get to training all the time, and sometimes they're making more money by working. Yeah. So they got to balance up. Which way do I want to go? Do I want to, keep playing because they're a bee's knee off playing first grades, but they're making more money having a trade, So it's hard for them. It's a dilemma.
Well, back in your day, did you go, "Fuck, I'm going all in"?
No, I never. I was very fortunate. I never really thought that rugby league was going to be a career for me. But back then, it was, it was just a privilege, and you're just. It was just different. It was a different era then, getting to train with the first graders, you're so starstruck, and you come to training, you roll in, and all grades will be training together. So the 21s, reserve grade, and the first grade. So, and if a first grader spoke to you or said something, you halfway shit yourself and you just bounce and do it, So, but now it's full time and they're in the system. So they're getting used to it and it's different. It's different. Like it's heaps different.
Yeah. So there was a much bigger level of respect back then, right, for the veterans of the game and the guys that were there that have been playing and grinding it out compared to what it is now. Do I guess what I'm asking is from your perspective, being a coach now and knowing what it was like there, would you like to see more of that today?
Yeah, I would. Getting to play like reserve grade back then, I'm playing against players who played for Australia. Do you know what I mean? So you get to learn your trade much quicker. I'm playing with men, and if you didn't do what they said, they'd give you a rocket. They'd put a rocket up you. So it was much different then, and also like I could be playing under 21s that day, and then sit on the bench for reserve grade, play reserve grade, and then sit on the bench for first grade. So, from having a good game in the 20s in President's Cup, I could be playing first grade that day. All depends what happened. If we're winning by a lot or we're getting pumped by a bit, they might say, I'll throw the young kid on. So you get to learn a little bit more your trade that way. And I think it's a good way, but it's hard now with trying to keep the sides
healthy.
Or no, just having the salary cap. It's hard to keep everyone.
Yeah. Because it was different, I guess, back in that day.
Moving,
with the salary cap, it was different there,
yeah,
right?
Heaps different.
Was it? At what point did the salary cap come in? Because I remember like Canberra were getting all the players back then.
They had one back in the 89 and then the 90s, because I'm sure I think Canberra went over it, but it wasn't so strict as it is today. So that's why if you go over it, you're going to get fined or points deducted. So now it's much different. But the game's evolved. It's changed a lot to back when we were playing back then, because you only had 4 interchange, 2 fresh ones, and then the other 2 had to play half a game of reserve grade. So I think the body shapes changed. They're much leaner when I was playing.
What do you mean? They were more leaner back in your day?
Oh, well, they weren't as big as they were as today, because if you're 100, like I think Blocker might have been 110 kilos as a front rower, but not too many people were over 100 kilos. Some of the full, but not the wingers, no way, because you had to stay on. Once you get taken off, you couldn't come back on, as you've seen in what was it, the 89 grand final? 89 grand final. Then they took Blocker and that off. They couldn't put them back on, because once you get taken off, that's it, finished. Yeah. But I think it's a better leveler for the smaller blokes. The big blokes get their time early doors, and then before half time you see them struggling, and that's when the little man comes into play.
Is the game a lot faster today than it was back then? Yeah,
definitely. They're better athletes. They're getting full-time training. They're getting, they got all the resources at training. They're getting everything they need. They're getting physio. They're getting, they're doing like weights, 3-4 times a week, wrestle sessions. So, that's their job.
When did the wrestle sessions come in? Because it wasn't around when you were at the Bulldogs, right?
When I was at West, we used to do a bit of wrestling. Like just like a little square, and you have to try and stay in that square and try throw the bloke out of the square. So, it was coming into play then, but not to the extent that it is today, where it's full on grappling and trying to win the ground with trying to apply pressure where without using as much energy as you have to.
Who are the best guys today in the wrestle that you've seen?
Oh,
because you're pretty good at it yourself.
Yeah, but I thought obviously Cam Smith, you know, for his size, you know, like he was very good at bearing weight, and he knew how to, you know, manipulate the player to gain more time on the ground. So yeah, but it's just comes through repetition and practice, and a lot of it's through you know, jiu-jitsu and that. Most of the clubs have got jiu-jitsu coaches. So, and I think it's a good, it's something different for the players. They do enjoy wrestling. You know, everyone thinks they're tough in that, but it's not about how strong you are, and it's more about technique. And you can see the smallest blokes dominating the bigger blokes a lot of the times.
Let's go back to the Bulldogs, right? You've won the grand final. You're on top of the world, right? Super League war starts. You're in the midst of it, right? You're still a favourite son of the Bulldogs. Like, everyone thinks you're still a Bulldog. Doesn't matter how many clubs you go to, you're still a Bulldog, right? I guess it's the Clive Churchill medal, the grand final. Talk me through how that went, right? So, you know, obviously you get offered by Parramatta. 4 of you guys go across from the Bulldogs. A stalwart like Terry Lamb stays at the club. What was that like with the guys that were there, and then you going across, and then, you know, the Bulldogs fans are passionate fans. Well, what happened?
Well, it was a funny year, as I was saying before, 95, because we had the loss in 94, and then we were travelling pretty well, and then we went to training one day, and Chris Anderson said, we got to get, I think it was on a Thursday or something, we got a meeting after training in town. And I'm going, what about? They're talking about this vision, you know, so I can't explain it now, but we'll train, and then everyone, let's go into town. So I think we're the first club to sign the Super League. So we go in there to have a yarn about this vision. I don't know what they're talking about, you know. And I was happy, you know, I was very happy at the club, and I was coming off contract that year, so they wanted to re-sign me, and so anyway, we go there and we get in there. John Rebo's there and that, and he goes, look, we want to talk to you. We'll get you one by one. And we go, what's going on? So Crackers and that go in first, and Crackers is in there for, I don't know, like hour and a half. I don't know, took heaps, mate. I don't know what was going on. And then he comes walking out, and they've called me. I said, Crackers, what's going on? He goes, gives their head. What? And then so I go in there, and they start talking about, they got this vision of having a new comp, Super League, you know. I think he's getting underpaid, and you know, and all this. And I go, mate, whatever, you know, or whatever the club's doing, you know. And then they start talking figures and that, and unbelievable figures. You know, I was on 30 grand, you know. So
what is it? 30 grand when he's won the 95 grand final.
95. But that I think that's.
You didn't get an upgrade after that?
No, this is before.
So there was.
This is early in the season.
Yeah.
In 95.
Okay, yeah.
So, and no one was. I think 100 grand would have been a mozza back then.
Back then,
you know,
yeah.
So,
yeah.
I'm an average player back then. You know, I'm 30. You know, so. So then they're going, you know, would like to sign you. And I go, well, what are you talking about? So how much do you think you're worth? And I go, I don't know how much worth, you know. And they're going, well, okay, we'll give you 250. I said, what? 250? I said, I don't know, because I don't know what everyone was getting. You know, you couldn't
judge where the numbers were at.
Yeah, who's getting what? You didn't know. He said, well, I don't know, mate. Can I ring my mum? I want to ring my mum, speak to my mum. He goes, no, I can't speak to your mum. I said, can I speak to my manager? So you can't speak to your manager. He said, listen, we'll give you for 3 years, 250, and if you sign now, he really tricked out, passed me this check. You can keep that check. I picked up the check. It was 50 grand for this check, you know. Like, said that's for now. I said, oh, mate. So I did what I wanted to, mate. Can I speak to my mum? Because if you talk, well, not.
It's off the table.
It's off the table. It's gone. So I said, well, I'm in, aren't I? So, you know, I'm on 30 grand that year. He's giving me 50. right then, and then 250 for the next 3 years. You
Yeah.
know. So, I'm in, but I said I don't want to get rorted because we didn't know what was going on. So everyone was all happy. You know, like we all got signed, whatever, and then like weeks, a couple of months went past, and then everyone else, other clubs started signing, and then it went in the papers like other players were getting so much money, this and that, and then that's what and then Bar was working for Super League, and I going, Bar, like, what's going on? They've robbed me, they rorted me, you know, and I said that's what I didn't want to get happen to me, like because we were first assigned, like I didn't want to get dudded, and I kept saying, oh, can we get another meeting because he was working? Can I speak to Johnny Rebo? And then this went on for another month, and I was getting a little bit dark. And then Canterbury, they give me another 50 grand a year. Okay, mate, it's not about Canterbury. I'm not worried about it. It's about the Super League. You know, like I'm happy with Canterbury. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway, me and Terry Hill, we were good mates, and then we used to every like Thursday have dinner and get a massage and this and that. So he's going, mate, they want to talk to you, like Bozo and all that. And I'm going, mate, I used to brush him all the time, but I was fed up with it at the time, and I said, mate, that's it. Let's go and have a yarn with them, you know. So I go in there, and they go, listen, we can offer you more, you know, and they're the deal that they were going to give me was much more than the Super League. And then they go, look down there, look down the corridor. And I looked down there, and it was Dean Pay, Jason Smith, and Jared McCracken.
Okay, wow.
And they've all signed, you know. And they said, do you want to sign back? I said, what about if we get sued or that? So we'll pay everything.
Wow.
Everything. You know, they're all sweet, you know, and you can give back their 50 and we'll give you. They gave us more money to sign back, you know. So I said, oh, well, I'm happy. Yeah, I'll sign back. But I said, they give me the papers. They said, you sign now. I said, no, I can't sign now. They go, I said, I have to go back and tell Canterbury, because for me it wasn't about Canterbury. It was about the Super League. Do you know what I mean? So that's where it's always been. I've been all right with Canterbury, and they've been pretty good to me, and I've been good to them, and I've been up front with them, you know. So them three blokes signed. But
without telling them.
Yeah, I was the only one who didn't sign, so I went back, and then the next day they got a whisper about what was going on.
Oh, wow.
And then I was injured that week, and like Bar doesn't train like normally, like with the
players.
He's always in the rehab, you know, because he had
of his
bone on
knees.
bone with the knee. So me and him were doing like, you know, on the treadie and that, or on the bike. And he's saying, mate, what are you doing? They want to make you captain here when I go, this and that. I go, mate, I don't know, Bar. So I get in there in the office, and then everyone was there. They had the president there, Bullfrog was there, Punchy, Barry Nelson, they're all there, the board. And I've come in with my manager, Wayne Beavers. And they were just going, mate, you're going to be captain next year. Bar's gone, you know, this, that. Oh, mate. I said, mate, because when they were talking to me, they pumped me up. I thought, oh, fuck, I'll just sign back with you. You know, I'll just sign out. Mate, so Wayne Beavers gets me out of there, and he takes me back to his office, and we just did the pros and cons, you know, and then I come and said, listen, mate. He goes, look, if you sign back with them, you're going to lose a heap more money. You know what I mean? And look, it probably was about money at that stage for me, because every contract I've signed, I've gone for less money, you know. So, and then I said, mate, can I ring my mum? I need to talk to my mum. So I rang my mum, and I asked my mum, and I said, oh, what do you think, mum? She goes, oh, well, why don't you do something for yourself, son? So when she said that, I said, oh, it's a 6 again for me, you know. So that's where I signed back with them. I'll sign back to go to ARL.
ARL, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
but I think the reason why I didn't have the next week we played, them three blokes got dropped.
Oh, wow.
Because
you were honest.
Yeah, because I never got dropped. I had the worst game of my life.
Wow.
I swear. But and we played para. But we didn't know.
Did you know who you were going to?
No. You didn't know who you're going to.
Wow. So
you're just signing for an amount, or if a club wanted you for more, you could get more. But they're guaranteeing a certain amount. The ARL, to go there. So we didn't know we were going to para.
Yeah.
So. So we just signed with ARL.
Yeah.
So, but it was funny because then that's why it was so. The grand final win was so much special because we were struggling mid-year. We were lucky to scrape in because there was a little bit of fighting going on.
In the background.
Yeah, and a lot of the players were not happy with what was going on. The boys were happy, like, do your best, and they were doing their best, but we weren't playing really good football. And then when we went on a cruise, and then we ended up, sorting it out, and we had an opportunity. We should have, we could have won it last year. We didn't. 93, we come third last year, second. Like, you don't get these opportunities, very often. And we've got a good side, good core side there, and that's the time we started playing, and we end up scraping into the to the semis, and then kicked on from there.
Yeah. So that year, obviously, the thing that slowed you down was actually that war, because you would have been going unbelievably well if that didn't destabilise the side, right?
100%. But I'm not taking no credit away from Manly. They were the best side.
Yeah.
All year, mate. They only lost 2 games.
I remember, mate.
You go for them.
When I was at the fucking grand final.
Yeah,
was at the grand final.
That was the third game, but they were by far the most consistent side. Mate, unbelievable. So,
killed me that day. I had to walk home.
Yeah, but like even that mine was like borderline. It was in line, my pass, but the try, 7 tackles. They didn't get any rub of the green, but we were the much better side that year, because even the game, they didn't even score a try. They didn't even look like scoring a try. No. So we were probably the better side. But see, they were in 95, 96, 97, and they only won one. So they should have won a couple more. Yeah. So, mate.
Well, they were favourites in all of them. They were favourites against you guys. They were favourites against Newcastle. They ended up winning one. Let me ask you a question. That seems to me like it probably galvanised the team when you sorted out your difference to come back, because in that grand final, you had a lot more energy than Manly. Manly were flat. Like, you guys had energy. You guys were pulling off the big hits. You were making all the breaks.
Mate, we were blessed just to get even the whole semi-final run. St George, we won. There's a bit of controversy there. They thought it was a shepherd, Dean Pay and all that. And then we ended up playing, we played Brisbane. And then Dino put a shot on Glenn Lazarus, and he did his rib first minute. So we were just blessed. Then we played Canberra in the wet, and we towed them up. It was unbelievable series for us. It was just, and we just went on this run, and we thought every game was a grand final for us,
Yeah.
So like midweek, we'd still do our, get on the drink, and. Yeah, but that's what we're doing.
Is that what it was like?
That's what we were doing.
Midweek, Wednesday?
Oh, mate, Wednesday.
So every Wednesday?
Oh, for me, it was Wednesday. Yeah, I was gonna but Tuesday would be Tuesday with Canterbury.
Canterbury.
We'd go, but Wednesday I'd go down to Woolloomooloo.
Oh, yeah, okay, far out. Yeah. So Tuesday was with the Bulldogs?
Bulldogs, we used to go back and we'd just have a raffle night, meet trays and that. Yeah. Back to the bowling club and just have a few bevies together and spend time together and just have a yarn there. And,
do they still do those types of get-togethers, or no, not anymore?
Yeah, they do, but not
different
extent. Like
no drinking.
Oh, like sometimes you have to time your run. All depends on how many day turnaround you have. If it's a 5-day turnaround, you no hope. Yeah, if you've got 7 day turnaround, you have a chance. To recover. Like, mate.
But they were bigger drinkers back then. Like, those guys could back it up much better back then. You reckon, or?
As I said, like, the game's much quicker now, but I think as a whole, I think mental toughness. I think we're mentally there more than, because we trained harder. Yeah, maybe not as technical as they do now, but different training. It was like
Like they tried to break you back then.
Longer,
Yeah.
it was more like road runs, and
Yeah.
they wanted to break you,
Yeah.
to see, take you to dark places. Like it was more plodding, like it wasn't like short, sharp stuff. It was more like, longer and endurance a little bit more, So I remember I'm doing 14 400s semi-finals.
14 400s.
Before the semis.
Wow.
We got hammered.
Far out.
We got smashed, though. We got
Mate,
smashed.
400s are hard.
It was
Four's
hectic,
hard.
mate. We did 14 of them. It was unbelievable. It was crazy. It was crazy in there.
My illustrious career at Mascot was 4.
Oh, my goodness. It was different training.
But
then.
like, so take me back to that. Like, so you're doing 14 400s. How often would they make you do that?
Nah, that was only that was like we used to do them in the pre-season, and then I don't know his name was Bruce Walsh. He was an Olympic. He does the fit. Bruce Walsh.
Yeah, didn't he play for the? Didn't he?
Olympic trainer, and I think they have a fitness award named after him.
Okay.
But he was the guru with he was an Olympic weightlifting trainer.
Okay.
So he was the guru back then, but with weights and that, but didn't know nothing about the other side of it. So that didn't help us.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, obviously the training's trained a lot because there's more short and sharp.
I used to do bay runs at Canterbury.
Do you think that's?
8K
Do you think
runs.
part of that's still a bit of that's missing in today? Do you think that there needs to be an element of that?
Definitely, yeah. It's more about
Not the whole thing,
it's
but
more
an
about-
element.
It's more about
mental,
mate.
yeah.
Seeing who can grind and go to them dark places, and
Yeah.
I think Melbourne still in the pre-season they just do a bit of running, a lot of running. So
Yeah.
it's different. Everyone's different, obviously. Canterbury were renowned for training hard. And their motto was drink hard, train hard, sort of thing. So, and we had Billy Johnson, Steve Folkes there at the time. So, and Gary Carden, and then my first grade, reserve grade, and the 20s trainer. They were always trying to see who could hammer their side the worst. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
And it's like go fast forward. And I don't want to harp on this too much because I don't want you to put. I don't think we should put anything on anyone or any team. But this year you've seen the Bulldogs. They just weren't up to pushing themselves to that level. There was a bit of bickering there. They didn't want to go that hard. What would have happened back in your day if there was a bit of bickering?
back in my day, they'll just sort it out.
How do they sort it out? What do they do?
Well, if there's bickering between two players.
Yeah, but like say there's like, we don't want to train this hard. What would happen?
See you later.
See you later.
See you later. Yeah, it's different. It's different.
Different, yeah.
Different now. Like the comment, what ever happened there.
Yeah.
That's not up to me to.
Yeah.
But I think everything. The generation is different now. Like the players. I think. With the phones, it's a killer too. You know what I mean? So, I can't really comment on what happened there at the Bulldogs, but I just think as a whole, the generation is much different to back when I played to now. But and I blame a lot of it on social media.
You played with some unbelievable players. You represented Australia, New South Wales. You played with Andrew Johns. What was he like? I mean, like they said he's a freak, and I was talking to Braff before, the way he could turn a game, the way he could go from one side to another. Was he one of the best players you played with?
Yeah, he was one of the best players I played with.
Who else?
He was with my roomie, actually.
Was he?
Me and him roomed together in Origin. Yeah, little hairy.
Yeah.
He's a good fella.
What was he like? Because you're competitive, right?
Yeah.
I've seen you. Like, was he more competitive? Was there guys that were more competitive?
Mate, everyone who's, they're all competitive, but they'll fight over anything, like that's what it is, like he was very competitive, like everyone, like back then everyone wanted to win everything, no matter what we're playing, we're always trying to, even if we're playing Monopoly or so because when in Canberra you always play games and I think everyone in the side always want to win, and I think that was the beauty of it, so. And everyone just gave their all, and really enjoyed the time that I played with him.
What was he like? What was he as a roommate? What was he like?
Very messy.
Very
very messy, yeah, Joey. No, he was a good roommate. He's coming from the country, so
Yeah.
coming into the big smoke. Back then, he was only a young fella, so he didn't really know his way around the city. And me being from Woolloomooloo,
Yeah.
I sort of showed him the ropes a bit.
Did you show him the dance moves?
Nah.
Could
I'm
he
not saying-
dance?
I'm
Could
not-
he dance or not?
Nah, stick to footy, I think.
Footy.
He used to stay in his lane.
Stay in his name.
Yeah.
So you represented Tonga. Proud moment for your mum?
Mate, for me, looking back, it was sort of a blessing in disguise for me. 94, we lost the grand final. I missed out on. They had a kangaroo tour to England that year, and I never got selected. So, very disappointed. I just thought I had a good year that year. But that's selectors are always gonna. Everyone's got a different opinion. It's always about, So I was not unlucky, but I didn't make it, and I was a bit disappointed. And then I got the call up to ask to go and play for Tonga in the Pacific Cup. So I got a chance here to learn about my heritage and my culture. I really loved it. Looking back at it now, it sort of made me enjoy football, and it sort of propelled me into because the next year, 95, I had my best year. One of my best years, and I think that come down to I think because their connection is much more spiritual and more about the culture. So you get on the bus, you're always singing. You're singing in rehab or prehab or before the games or before training in the change room, and then the learning of the sipitao, our war dance. Everyone was learning that, and going to church with them. It was unbelievable. I really, and then we made the final. Hopper was playing, so it was me and Hopper. Hopper was only. It was because then we went to New Zealand, and then we had to go to Tonga to play the resident side there. And I remember I was the captain of the New Zealand Australian side against the Tongan resident side, and then their captain was their front rower, and then this big fella, they're going, Jimmy, he's a heavyweight champion of Tonga. I go, here we go. And I'm playing in the half, so I'm like 3 off. I'm 3 in, and they got a tap. And he's pointing at me, you. I'm going, what? What have I done? He goes, you, me. Oh, here we go. So he's taking the ball up. He's come off his left foot. He's come straight into me. I picked him up, and I dumped him on his back. And then he looked at me, and I'm marking up. He looked at me and goes, ooh, you good player. I said, thank you. And I just took off. But and then after about 5 minutes, they just ran out of puff, you know. So me coming off Winfield Cup, training all the time. And I think the difference that you could see, a real Hopper and that. Me and Hopper were
carving them up.
more heaps fitter than most of the players there, because Albert Fulvoy also played.
Yeah.
So being in the system, back then in ARL there wasn't as many Polynesians playing then. So I think a lot of them now have they've got it right now. The dieting, and they know how to train. So
they're a lot fitter now. They're a lot fitter. They've got a lot.
They've changed their diets, and they've been training harder, and they've got into the system much quicker. So I think majority of the NRL are Polynesians. Yeah. So.
And so, obviously you coached them, but then your daughter, she's playing. In the female NRL, the women's NRL, and she gets picked for Tonga. What was that like for you as a father, your mum, part of what your heritage is like? What's that feeling like when they get picked?
Yeah, very proud.
Because you're the first father and daughter, right?
Yeah, for Tonga. Yeah, very proud. Like to see her play NRL. I've got 4 daughters, so NRLW. Sorry, I got 4 daughters, so I was never thought in my lifetime that I'd see rugby league for women and come as how big it is now and how fast it's gone, how quick it's happened. I never thought one of my daughters would be playing in NRLW, let alone play for Tonga. So yeah, it's very pleasing for myself and especially for my mum, to give back something to her. And yeah, it was, they played well. I think last year we got beat by about 40 points, and this year was much closer. So
who did they play?
New Zealand.
New Zealand, yeah.
Yeah, so I think getting Tiana Paratani, she could have played for Australia, but she chose to play for Tonga.
Yeah.
So a few of them come. There's a few NRLW girls come and play for Tonga. So hopefully more come back. And there was a few playing for New Zealand. So that
so they're spreading.
If they all come back and play, it'll be
interesting.
Yeah, it will be very tight.
What was your mum like? What was she like? Because it's a granddaughter, right?
Yeah. She was happy for her, but
she was
my
tough.
mum's different, like she's funny. Like she come from Tonga to Australia to have a better life, for a family. So she sort of lives the Aussie way, and like she married my father. He's in the Merchant Navy, so he went over there, and my mum's one of 10 girls. And my dad, my pop, he said, you normally marry the oldest daughter. And he offered her up, and he goes, no, I want that one there.
Wow.
She was the second oldest. So he was actually 30 years older than my mum, and to do it. He was a good man, and he brought her over, and his promise was he'd bring the rest of the family over to Australia. So and he kept his promise. He brought them all over.
Yeah, wow. And your rugby league career finishes. The game's changed a lot. Concussions become massive. They got much better protocols around it. CT has become a big thing in the game. Look at Boyd Cordner. I was talking to Tyron Smith, a couple of weeks ago, and he said, when you look at the game, he asked me the question, he goes, do you believe people should finish the game early in some instances when they can feel these types of knocks? And you can look at Boyd Cordner. He's going to have this for the rest of his life, really, right? What's it been like for you? I mean, have you gone and got a scan? Were you worried? Did all these things go across your mind when you're hearing about, all the things that happen in rugby league?
Look, mate, it's a contact game, so these things are expected. Everyone's different. Everyone's different. I might get a little tap and, something happened to me and I might get a big hit, but I can handle it better than someone else. So everyone's different, but I think the way the NRL have gone about it and put in new protocols, it's probably a good thing, So, what they're doing now and try to alleviate. I think the good thing about it, you're taking it out of the players' hands because, back when we played, there was no concussion rules. It was more, get back in the line, and even if you were concussed, but you didn't want to show weakness, So, but taking it out of the players' hands is a good thing, So sometimes at the time you might be saying, I feel good, I can stay on, but if you show signs of
weakness.
No, not weakness. If you show the signs like you're not stable, you've got to come off. I think it is better. You're looking after the players. No, I mean
back in your day, it was a sign of weakness, right?
Oh yeah, they'd kill you.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have interchange. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So once you're off, you couldn't come back on. So it was different now. So but now you got the HIA. You can go and get checked, and if you're
you got the extra man as well.
Yeah. So I think they're doing the right thing. But for me, if something happened, I went and got the check. I'm all sweet, but my wife Leah thought there was something going on. I was just
she thought there was naturally something going on.
Demented or something. But
I was a bit concerned myself.
But I went and got the checkup. But I'm pretty sweet. Yeah. So but as I said, everyone's made different. You know what I mean? So some blokes can handle more, some blokes can't. So that doesn't mean you're weak.
Yeah.
It's just different, So
yeah.
But I think the NRL have done the right thing, and take it out of the players' hands, and because you're always going to say, "No, I'm sweet."
Yeah.
You know what I mean, always. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So it's good what they've done and try and to preserve the player.
Yeah. What do you think it takes to be an NRL player? Because not everyone can make it, Jimmy. I mean, you probably get a lot of people going, "Oh, my son's this, my son's that." You know, you'd get it a lot, right? And it's not for everyone because it's a tough game.
Yeah.
It's so hard. It's brutal. There's so many injuries. When you look at from the start of your career to the end of your career, most people don't play. I think it's something like 30 games. Like, I mean, most people don't even get past the number you're getting past too. Like, what do you say to young people that want to be a rugby league player or a professional sports player as a whole? What kind of disciplines do they need? Like, you can't go around and live the kind of life you want to live because you got to dedicate yourself to the sport, right?
I think, like, for me, it's more in your head, you know, like it's that mindset, you know, like, and having a routine, like, and just being persistent, you know what I mean? Like them reserve graders, you know, like I said, like you could be in the grind, you're going to work, you know, you're not getting home till, you know, like 9 o'clock, you know, you've been working all day, you know, you get to roll out of the car at 6 and go training, you train, you get home at 9, and it's just like day in, day out, you got to keep sticking with it and then waiting for your chance. And I think if you hang in there and be resilient and hang in there and you get the opportunity and you make the most of it, and I think the easy thing, well, it's not easy, but once you make it, you can't just say, "Oh, I've made it now," and just relax. You got to keep going, keep doing it. And I think if you have a routine and you're doing all the little 1% things, all the 1%ers, that's going to make you more consistent. And the more consistent you are, and that's what I think coaches. That's what I would prefer. Someone who's consistent. I know what I'm going to get from this kid. Than someone who's more erratic and I don't know if he's going to give me a good game today. He has potential. Potential's a killer. You know what I mean? But if I know, let's put Joe Blow in because look, he does like 40 tackles and does like 20 hit-ups. I know what I'm going to get from this kid, and he's reliable. You know what I mean? So that for me it's being consistent and just having a routine and being mentally tough.
Yeah.
I think that's the big one.
That's interesting you say, like, being mentally tough. Like, you know, we talk about consistency and you'd have to throw discipline in there, right? So you want to have a discipline, you want to have a routine. So if you marry up all of those discipline, consistency, routine, that's going to eventually help with your mindset. Now you know this is the program, this is what I've got to do. I know exactly what my game plan has to be. And the hardest thing is the repetition of that, right? Because people's minds go somewhere else.
Oh, repetition. You need repetition. It's muscle memory all the time. So, but the way you are on the field, 9 times out of 10, that's the way you are off the field.
Yeah.
So if you're unreliable on the field, you're inconsistent. That's the way you are. That's how you live your life off the field. You know. So you can normally judge a bloke the way he's on the field and then the way he's off the field. So
fuck, that doesn't help me with racquetball, fucking tennis. Look, at least I'm consistently inconsistent.
No, I'm talking about football, you know, like rugby league in a team environment. You know, team environment,
yeah.
You know, so like you're relying on someone to be working in a system. You know, just you want to make sure that he's doing his job. You know, make him accountable. Or being accountable for your job. Yeah. So if I'm doing my job, I expect the next bloke to be doing the same. So, yeah.
You played, obviously you had Warren Smith, right? Brian Smith.
Warren Ryan.
Warren Ryan, sorry. Chris Anderson.
Yeah.
London Broncos. Who was at the London Broncos? Tony Ray. Who did you learn from the most of those coaches? Did you get something out of all of them?
I learned from every coach, like not just coaches. You can learn something from. Even today, I can learn something from other players, you know. So I'm not saying, you know, I've been in the game a long time, but there's always an opportunity to learn something from someone. So, but for me, Warren was excellent on. He liked set up plays, and it was more like NFL for him. He had lay one here. It was more structured. I did like structure, but I was more off the cuff.
Yeah.
So that's where when I come to Chris Anderson, I sort of thrived a little bit more, where I could play within the structure, but unstructured structure for me was when I played at my best. So yeah, when the shit hits the fan, you go back to what you need to do with the structure. But if I seen something, if someone was bludging down the short side, and they had to play on the big side normally, but I'll just call the ball. So for me, yeah, Chris was very good. Good coach for me because he just let me do what I wanted. Brian Smith, he was very good at attention to detail, the fundamentals of the game, which I did enjoy. So I learned a lot from a lot of the coaches I had. I had Gus Gould in Origin, I had Bob Fulton for Australia. So yeah, I've been very blessed with some of the coaches I've had.
Yeah. So you make your move to the London Broncos. What made you leave Parramatta at that point? Did you think, you know what, I just want to go to England and finish my career off there? I want to see Europe. What was the mindset behind that?
I thought I had 5 years at Para, and the 4 years we missed out one game before the GF with Brian Smith, and Brian was, he was, like I said before, he was a very smart coach, and it was all about attention to detail. And a lot of young kids were coming through, like good young kids, Hein Marsh and Nave Kalis, Lukey Burt, and we were sort of old school. And not that we're corrupting them, it was more, it's like for us it was a bit like, because we come full time then, it was more. It wasn't a job for us. It was more still football for me. I enjoyed going to train. I loved it, and then just training with the boys and having that camaraderie. And then I lost a bit of the enjoyment out of it, and I started playing, coming off the bench a little bit as hooker as well in the last year, 2000. So I got a little bit frustrated at the end, and I just thought I was only 28, and I had an opportunity. Dave Riolo, who I played with, he ended up becoming my manager. He ended up getting me over to London. It was a good deal. So I said, I only just got married, and Leah at the time, like my wife, we said, why not? Let's go over and get to see a bit of Europe. Sort of brought me and my wife closer together because didn't know a lot of people over there. Our families weren't there, so all we knew, it was just the London Bronco teammates and their wives. We used to hang together all the time. But actually, Tony Mestroff, he was playing.
Was he there too?
Yeah. So I really enjoyed my time in London. I think I was 32, and then I was going to retire. They wanted me to play another year, and I said, I was umming and ahhing, but my oldest daughter Kiana was ready to start school, so I said, I'll go back home and put her to an Aussie school. So I'll come back.
When you finished your career, did you go straight into coaching straight after that? What did you do?
I did. I didn't know what I was going to do. There was a time there that the transition from playing to becoming a coach, like, it was very stressful. That's probably one of the worst times.
Really?
For me, yeah.
Well, why?
I didn't know what I was going to do.
Okay, because you didn't know what you were going to do.
I didn't know how to transition, like where I was going to go. Like, I was a printer by trade, but
you didn't want to do that.
That was getting rubbed out.
Yeah,
it was all becoming digital. So there was no trade there. So I did this trade not for nothing, but I did a trade. My brothers, I could always went on the wharves because my brothers worked on the wharves and the council. My dad was on there for years and that. So could have went there, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. And then Tony Ray goes, mate, you should coach, because I was doing a bit over in London, and then that's how I got to start the Roosters with Ricky Stewart, and
and that was kind of the start to your coaching career. Have you always, like, obviously you've been an assistant coach, you're a caretaker coach for the Bulldogs, which I think you've done a tremendous job of that year. Are you still aspiring to be a first grade coach? Are you kind of happy where you are right now? I mean, like all the players love you. Everyone still loves you. I mean, everywhere you go, you're still famous, still loved in a lot of places.
Yeah, I think when coaching gigs come up, I think a lot of it's perception. A lot of people think that I don't want to be a head coach. You know?
But you do want to be a head coach, right?
Of course I do, but I'll never if I'm working for someone and I'll never undermine someone else to get a job. So that's not my style. So yeah, but it might have passed me now, but I always want to strive to be a head coach, and if the opportunity come up, of course I'd go for it and become a head coach. But if I get to spend another 10 years doing what I'm doing, I'm blessed. You know what I mean? Like, not everyone can just transition straight out of playing into the coaching ranks and I owe everything to rugby league. You know, I got to play, and also now I'm getting to coach something I love doing, and you do it for nothing. You know what I mean? Like, I'm getting paid for something I love doing. So I get to wake up and go training every morning and spend time with the players. And I'm not a player, but it feels I'm still in that. Like that, get that camaraderie with the players and the staff. So still get that feeling of that winning feeling when the side wins. Like you are in the doldrums when they lose, but that's what it's about, the ups and downs of rugby league. So I've been very blessed, and I owe everything to rugby league.
Because I remember the time between the Titans and what you were going to do next. And you moved back to Sydney, like it's obviously rugby league's in your blood, like you're almost moping when there's no rugby league in your life, right?
No, I think having the break is good, cause
just so you can love the game again.
Yeah. So, but again, when I left the Titans, I had nothing to do for like 4 months. So I ended up working with a couple of mates, Ashley Gill and Corey Gill and Graham Appo. They're concreters. They used to live near me, and they said, "Well, you're doing nothing. Come and."
So you're doing concreting for a bit?
I was concreting, and they go, "Come and concrete," and I go, "Well, I'll do it." And they thought I was cheating. You won't do it. You got your white card. I go, "I'll go get it." Yeah. So I went and got the white card, and then I ended up doing it for a little bit, and then I really enjoyed it. I think I missed that the team environment. I work well in a team environment, like someone relying on me or me relying on them. I think that's when I work at my best, when I'm working with other people. Yeah,
and when you look back at you've obviously been blessed. You've been in the game for a long time. Do you have to become a coach or to become a caretaker or to be in the game for so long? There must be something that you need. It's not in everyone to be able to do that, right? Because you see heaps of ex-players that aren't doing what you're doing right now. Do you have to have it in you, Jimmy? Do you have to be that passionate about it to want to continue on and be around the circles a lot? It's got to be in you, right? Because you see players that have finished that no longer want anything to do with it.
Yeah, but it's different. It's different. Match playing. Yeah. What's the time?
12:30. We're almost finished.
No, it's different. It's different. Just because you're a good player doesn't mean you're going to be a good coach. I'm not saying I'm a good player, but I'm just saying you're one of the top players. That doesn't mean that's going to transfer into coaching. Yeah, it's a different beast, mate. Yeah, you got to learn. You got to have some computer skills. Yeah, you got to present. You got to be able to communicate with the players. And juggle their
expectations, their downs,
different
ups and downs.
Different players, different,
personalities.
100%, so you got to work your way through all of that, and everyone's different. For me, because I've got Polynesian background, I know how they operate, and they can trust me a little bit more. Not trust me, but they think, look at me and say, oh, he's one of the brothers, so I know how to speak to them, and they know how, you know, like they can joke with me, you know, a little bit more than the other coaches. So everyone's different, you know. What I mean, it doesn't mean there's no right, there's no wrong, but it's just having a bit of me being diverse, you know what I mean, and
makes a big difference.
100%. Like coming from, you know, like the housing commissions and you know, not just I'm Polynesian, I'm also Maltese, so you know.
One hell of a mixture.
Mate, I'm very diverse, you know what I mean? So I've got them all covered. You know, and everyone thinks I'm Lebanese.
Your wife's Aussie.
Yeah, everyone thinks I'm Lebanese in Canterbury or Paris. So, no, it's a different beast. And you know, I enjoy it. I enjoy cutting film and analysing games. Yeah. And, doing previews and reviews.
Yeah.
It's hard work. It's long. You're forever looking at the computer screen, so no wonder why I'm cross-eyed. Yeah, but I enjoy it. Yeah. To see, you know, you put all the work in and to see something come off on the weekend, if you know, a move comes off or you've defended a play and you previewed it and you delivered it to the boys and you know they've actioned it and it's come off well and then, you know, it's made a difference to win that game. You feel, you know, like you've added something to the side and you've helped out and you've helped for that victory. Yeah.
Well, mate, I want to thank you. I know this is a new set, the Merv Griffin set.
I've got to say,
is this better than the last set or not?
Yeah, just
say it on the record.
Much more professional than the last hovel that you had before. Mate.
You actually look more comfortable here. So the Merv Griffin blinds have made a difference.
Mate, did you have seats the last one or I don't know?
It wasn't like this. It wasn't this comfortable. You didn't have water and a coffee.
No, I had nothing. It was on a very low budget there.
Yeah.
I think you kicked a goal or something, have you?
It was a low.
Hey, you won the lotto, have you?
You know, I'm trying to win every day, Jimmy. You know me. I'm very competitive, but I'm not the best at table tennis.
You won when you met Susie, mate.
Yeah, she's good.
She must have been drunk
good.
that day.
Hard head, drunk, good. Yeah.
She must have been.
Look, everyone needs a bit of luck in life, and I think I got it in Susie. But I just want to thank you for coming. I know you don't do many of these. You don't do many of these. The last one was the last one we done.
Yes.
Many moons ago.
Many moons ago.
And you had a breaking story then, I think. That was when you were going to Cronulla.
Yes.
I think it was a breaking story then. We don't have any breaking news now.
No breaking
news. But you are a grandfather too.
I'm a grandfather now, got
a lot's changed.
Got a young boy there. So
He's got your genes as a dancer, huh?
Grandson. He's a little bit of a groover.
Yeah.
He gets going.
Yeah,
so 4 daughters and I've got a grandson.
So you're laughing, mate. You deserved it in the end.
Let's see if you can get one because you've got 2 daughters.
I only I don't know if I'm ready to be a grandfather. I don't know if I've got it.
Don't start. I don't want to bring that other thing up anyway.
All right, brother. Thanks a lot, brother. Thanks.
Champion.
Hey, can you just do like a thing like Mom just shared like for Insta stories, but on your phone, just record it and you send it to me.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah. Just take a seat.